Hello and hello. My name is Joelle and I am the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower. I'm undertaking that process for myself. And when I come on to share, it's my hope that you too will be elevated, enlightened, and empowered. So I'm here this evening for a special edition of In the Cards. Okay. And if you're here, you probably understand what the little energy is about. I'm going to give it just another few minutes. If you're in the chat, thank you. I see the Good Vibe Tribe, Lala, Gooba, Jackie. I'm sure that we're going to have a very lively time. We're going to put these comments up as we're going along. So we're all here. In the Cards is my time to talk about and to use Oracle and tarot cards. I think that they are a wonderful way to communicate with my higher guidance, and I'm an advocate, and so I come here to share and show you and to share with you how Oracle and tarot cards can be a help to you. So we're going to get a little background here going as we get everybody on. We're going to give it another few moments. If you all could send out the little hooty hoo to the peoples. Let me send a text message real quick because I know there were a couple people who were on. So let's see here. Thank you to the moderators and everyone else who is out here adding your energy to the situation. So there is a huge amount of energy, which is why I'm here talking about this. All right. So we live in this kind of a social media centered reality where things become viral, or meaning they garner a lot of attention, and that attention blows through the collective. Like it's just from person to person. Did you see this? Did you hear this? Etc. So this particular story, I didn't hear about it until it made my little morning, daily, regular news that I read before work. And by then it was old, and my friends had already kind of gotten all the way through it in the circle. And because I don't have TikTok, I was late to the game. Okay, so what we have here is this phenomenon, the Who TF did I marry? And this is a young lady who shares in a multi-part series. When I say multi-part, I mean 50 parts at least of the original, and it has continued, the story has continued to unfold. But basically it's all those parts because TikTok had a time limit on 10 minutes per video. But when you calculate the math and the number of hours, this is a long, very detailed telling of a story, but it is very engaging to the kind of television entertainment mindset. And I must admit that I found it like watching a TV show. But I also experienced it in a personal way because I did recognize that this was a person's real life testimony. However, there was no doubt a, oh my gosh, drama to the whole situation that garnered so much attention. And so when I mean she has 2 million followers, there are hundreds of thousands of views, of conversations. All this energy that is going on is basically talking about a person who decided to enter into a certain kind of relationship that they understood one way, and then come to find out that they were connected to a person who did not have the understanding that they had at all, to say the least. Okay. So there's no way to talk about this evening without there being some form of spoiler. So if you haven't heard about it on the news, on Good Morning America, or seen it on your timeline or your feed, or spent the time, I'm sorry, but you should get the basic premise. Is it was a marriage that did not go well and left the person wondering, who the blank did I marry? So I wanted to take a moment to see what is the message that we can get from this that's of a higher vibration. All right. It's up and down, right? It's like through pain and trauma. And as the young lady said, she felt that if one person could be helped from hearing this, if one person who suspected their partner was lying to them or had caught their partner in lies or repeat lies, that if she could reach that one person, that her coming forward and telling this painful story, which was difficult for her, but she said it was worth it. All right. So there is a higher vibration purpose to what she decided to do. It was not about, from what I saw, making money, profiting, or anything. It's almost like a person who is abused, which it was very abusive, the situation when it boils down to it, because it abused the emotional trust of an individual on a very deep level. So, there is this lesson that people can take from it. So I wanted to see, and I was guided to pull a bunch of decks as I was sitting here. So I don't know how I'm going to go, if I'm going to get through all of them, but we are going to see what is in the cards. Does anybody have any questions, comments, anything? All right. I appreciate all of you who were here. This is going to be good. So the first deck that I am going to use this evening is the Pulp Tarot. Now, the reason this deck I know is going to be good, why I was gotcha, because pulp magazines are those stories of, the 70s and the 80s, the movies, the action movies where the hero slides over the hood of the hot rod, or the Superman, the superhero in disguise as a nerdy reporter kind of stories. So this, did I marry, is definitely one of those kind of things that is going to make a Lifetime movie, or it's too much for Lifetime, but it definitely is going to make somebody a mini series or something made for TV. Okay. I keep getting bleeps trying to say who did I marry? All right. So let us see here. First of all, we're going to see what is the energy of the masculine and feminine, because there were two energies. There are always those two energies at play in our duality experience on Earth. So we're going to see what's going on for the feminine, what's going on for the masculine and the energy in between. All right, so let's start with that layer using the Pope Tarot. Here we go. All right, last shuffle. All right, here we go. So on the feminine side, masculine side, and in the middle from the bottom of the deck. All right, so from our emotional, feminine, watery side of the womb of creation, we have the High Priestess. All right, this is the hidden divine mysteries. This is the feminine womb of creation. Okay, now the High Priestess is the intuition, the gnosis, the inner knowing, and then the intention that brings forward into manifestation from that seed, right? And the part of the High Priestess is that it is the hidden inner sanctum, the inner self. So if this whole experience is about that connection and that relationship and hearing and intuiting the divine feminine and bringing the divine feminine knowledge forward, we have in this situation something that really speaks to, a feminine wounding of an emotional level. So, the thing of the High Priestess is that it's in the silence that the inner knowing is, in the stillness of the place before things come into formation, right? So this is something that is emerging out of and into a creation, and we are responsible at a level for the creation of a society and a reality that has these kinds of relationship stories play out over and over again. So we are having this opportunity to follow into a higher principle of feminine divinity through this collective experience that we are seeing. Wow, excuse me. I'm definitely connecting and bringing in some guidance here. So, okay, thank you for that divine feminine wisdom and inner knowledge that is going to come through this creation. Now, on the masculine, okay, so on the masculine side of this experience, we have the manifestation, the maturity of the cycle of manifestation that then from that divine intent out to make like our happy wife life, our retirement palace, the things that we are structure and basis emotionally, mentally, physically, energetically coming into manifestation. So it's so interesting because we have the feminine receiving, and one of the things of this story is that she kept saying over and over again, I have to be honest. I knew. She kept saying, I have to be honest. I knew. And this is like by the time we were in the first episode or second or third, she said very quickly on, there were red flags everywhere. There were red flags, right? So knowing that, that's that red flag, that High Priestess that is saying to us, let's, her gut told her, there's no other way around it. She owns it. Okay, so there is that accountability, and Pentacles is also about accountability in It's our money, our wealth, our material, our manifestation visibly present for us to experience, right? So it's very interesting because she did not listen to that, and her manifestation was not in alignment with that guidance. Right? So now it's interesting because over the top then of this masculine feminine is bringing down the divine source energy through that combination into trinity and balance. But I'm very interested to see what turns out since the high priestess is in this position, because I would have thought maybe it would have been up here, but it's really coming from like the feminine way of being. And of course, the characters in this is the husband and the wife, well, former husband and wife. So there is a masculine and feminine, and the masculine in this had a feminine presence inside of him. Like he could be the villain all day, right? But he still is a balance, a balance of human being, which is part masculine and feminine. So he created a bunch of lies. Like he created false realities. He created something that was disconnected from true divine wisdom. So that manifestation of him being connected as well, and then getting a reality that was exactly what he was creating, which was false and fluffy and full of nothing. That was what that looks like as well for him. All right. So, and also in the wife's side of the story, she was economically stable, independently living on her own, well manifested in a career where she felt good and liked her colleagues and enjoyed what she did. So she was balanced in her feminine and her masculine on an apparent level. But then when this situation came, it set off a series of revealing where the imbalances or the lack of trust of that inner guidance that said, let it go, like, let it go, let him go, let him go, right? Where that could have come in, why was there that trust? And later she said it was because she really wanted to like believe that finally it was her, her time, like this, her fairy tale, like that we're all lovable, right? It's almost an act of defiance to claim one's right for love and to be loved, right? But it was coming from then expecting from a person outside of that to be that love, and denying over and over again. She said denying her own inner thing that said, this is not loving, this is not good for you to be not picked up from the hospital, this is not good to have no care and concern, like all these things that kept trying to tell her this is not aligned. So okay, let's see what the third energy here is. Oh my goodness. Eight of Pentacles. So Eight of Pentacles is doing that which we know how to do. Okay, like this person here you see in this picture, he's looking at the woman, but he's drawing a painting of a pentacle. That's money. That's a man who sees women in their vulnerability as she's sitting here naked and within all her wealth behind her, but yet naked, bearing herself, and all he's doing is painting money coins. What? I knew these cards were going to be interesting. So, like, how many times do we see things where there is emotional vulnerability required, and all we could do is see the economics? All we could see is, Oh, well, hello. All we can see is how is our money going to be affected. I'll do anything, right? As long as my money doesn't get affected. This is that priority. It's very, very interesting. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, if ain't that the truth, I know that's right. This is okay. So we've got our Pope Tarot. So now we've got our little triangle here of what's happening. We've got over this energy that sees vulnerability as a means to an end, a gender difference, two people who are definitely not on the page, not having the same experience at all, you know, at all. So, all right, let's see here. Now, The Price of Love by Crystal Banner. Let's talk about The Price of Love. We're going to get in on this. I love Crystal Banner's deck. First of all, I always got to show this because it's a card. Okay, how clever. And since we talk, okay, I see you, Spirit. We talk about economics. Clearly, we got pentacles all over this. All right, we got pentacles happening. So we're going to talk about the price of love and what is this situation that we, wow. Okay, I see you on that too, Spirit. I love cards. They're always talking. So let's see here what we have for the masculine and the feminine here. I'm going to have to show you what was on the bottom of the deck when I went to start shuffling because it is hilarious. Okay, so feminine here, masculine, third. Now, this was on the bottom of the deck. Money versus love. I kid you not. I kid you not. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see what comes out. So we're going to have to read this money versus love. This is card number 14. All right. Okay. This is so great. I have a blast with this. So you all just join me on that elevation. Money versus love. Money can't buy love. Or can it? The meanings: a focus on money, career over love, or vice versa, having to make a choice between the two, gifts in place of love or gifts as a love language, material items, materialism, a connection between money and love, like coworker, business partner, etc. Someone who values money, stability, a need to balance the two. The design is an origami heart that is beautifully crafted with a $100 bill. This illustration represents how money and love can be intricately entwined in many different ways. The symbols: origami. Paper folding is an art that can be extremely complicated but yields beautiful results. The cash origami heart represents the relationship between both love and money. The $100 bill, keep it 100, all right? Okay, out of all the denominations, the $100 bill is the most commonly seen as a sign of abundance. Green is associated with the color of the United States tender, as well as that as the heart chakra. Green in this card plays on the connectedness of love and money. Oh my goodness. Now, if this is not the two. Okay, so let me get it going here. We're going to keep on. Back to it. Okay, so that's not even the third energy card, but let's get back to it. Okay, here we are. For the feminine, boundaries. Oh my goodness. And look at this. Okay, I don't know if you can see on this High Priestess card, but the background on her card is a pattern. Similar. Here we go. You see that diamond background and diamond in the back? Okay. Boundaries, leaky boundaries. You see all them holes in that fence? She had, and she said over and over again, like the protagonist that was telling her stories, she should have not let the person do XYZ. She should have not let him come in there. She should have called out the lie. Shoulda. Every opportunity along the way, and had poor boundaries. Okay, so let's see what Crystal at the Price of Love says about poor boundaries in general. People will do what you allow. Whew, okay. Meanings: establish firm boundaries, defensiveness, guarded, protective, being clear about expectations, not accepting less than required, creating space or distance, not allowing others in, separating yourself from toxic energy. Okay. All right. It says a gate has been erected to create a clear sense of where you stand and where you and others should not trespass. In the symbols, one of the most classic representations of drawing a line in the sand, so to speak, is a gate. A gate is a physical barrier and a clear indicator of where you are allowed to go and where you cannot. A gate can be opened to permit entry, but can also be locked to prevent it. Okay, one of the most radical things that she did immediately was change the locks. Changed the locks. There was no longer any access to the house of that they had shared. And I know that for sure there was no more access to the nakedness and the vulnerability. Like once you realize and see the picture that a person has of you, and when it's not in alignment with who you think that you are, if you're showing up naked, bounce, boundaries, bounce. And that's what she did. Okay. And she was not the only person that wound up bouncing and setting boundaries after going through this trauma. See how many pentacles there were on the wall, how many pictures this guy collected. I imagine these are all, wow, how many is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the eighth one, yeah, oh, 8 of Pentacles. Hello, Joelle. 8 Pentacles. So I wonder if there's going to end up being 8 stories. I think we're already up to at least 3 ex-wives. So, I mean, it could get deeper because these are all pentacles. These are all pictures that look like he's painted them. So is this like Sex, Lies, and Videotape where the guy had been collecting all of these little mementos? Violations of women's privacy. Like, okay, I see you on that. All right. So now to the masculine side. Oh, now this is interesting because it was contract, but it was upside down. And I don't do really reversals in this deck, but this one was. So this is a bad contract, the situation, legal issues, and we know that this was about a marriage that went by a legally binding contract made between the court and that went south, okay, on this little 10 of Pentacles family situation here. All right, so let's see what contract says in the upright. Very interesting. Sign your name on the dotted line. The meanings: a legally binding document, marriage, divorce, soul contract, verbal agreements, being bound, institutions, business-related contracts or opportunities, doing things by the book, court, or law-related. In this image, someone has signed their name in blue ink, solidifying agreement. In the symbols, contracts are used to hold multiple parties to a certain agreement. For this card, it literally means a contract is involved, or it can mean that type of energy is present. There can be a soul contract, which is something that has been agreed upon before incarnation, or simply something related to the court system or the law. Blue ink is seen as one of the two acceptable colors to sign a professional document, but the color can also represent the throat chakra, truth, as well as sadness and serenity, ironically. Okay, so she had to step forward out into the masculine world, do something, and speak her truth as part of clearing the energy and of doing something to help other people not have to go through this same situation. She spoke outwardly, right? And that's the other thing, like, for something this big, there has to have been an agreed upon soul lesson here. And it's like, oh, she's never said she hates him in anything that I heard. She's expressed anger, disconnection, healthy boundaries, and being finished, like in terms of any kind of opportunity to communicate on purpose with him. But she's opening her throat chakra to speak, and that has then encouraged other people to do their throat chakra as well. So if at some point in time their souls got together up there in the higher realms, are like, you know what, we're going to be on this thing called life, and it's going to go real south for us. We're going to become like an internet phenomenon, and millions of people are going to see the catastrophe of our relationship, and we're going to be judged and shamed and all that stuff. But when it's said and done, 10 other people got out of their situation. And we don't have to do this again next time, because guess what? She's not carrying a vendetta against him, even now in this lifetime. So why would you have to come back again to resolve like the imbalance? That individual who causes like the polarity imbalance with another person may, as another soul, get an opportunity to experience what it was that they did to so many people that was emotionally harmful. But the likelihood is that that already happened somewhere in the whole play of contrast in somebody's story. I am very glad in this lifetime to have a compass and not feel compelled to be a liar. Now, when I was a little kid, and everybody's parents catch them in a lie, right? Because what happens, we're afraid of getting in trouble, and then we lie. So at some point in time, when there's a lying issue, someone has gotten afraid of something and decided that lying is an acceptable way to management. And, we can only hope that there is a healing opportunity, not just for her, the ex-wife, but also for him at some point then to maybe receive some healing at a level that previously was inaccessible for him. And that this is the catalyst experience that is then going to cause that opportunity to happen. So, all right, I wanted to find out, healing the mind and spirit, like if you've gone through something like this, like, okay, how we're left here with this story that we've heard the end, but now new things are coming out. But in one of the things that she said is that she does not trust anybody now, nobody. So before, she didn't trust herself enough to exit the situation when she saw the red flags. And now she's like, well, I will not trust anybody. Oh, that's the other. There was one more card. This was on the 8 of Pentacles. This was also in reverse. This was the third card. Sorry. This was the third card, and it's solitude, and it's also reversed. And again, I don't do reversals. So when we go into our solitude in a good way, then yeah, it's healthy and nourishing. We step aside from society so that we can heal. And that's one thing that this, lady said. But when it's in like withdrawing, like a negative, because we just, like she said, she doesn't trust. She doesn't have faith anymore, and she's not going to open herself up to new friends or any new contacts because she thinks, what if, what if they are a liar too? Right? So there's more lack of trust. And the moon is also like the high priestess, that's the inner wisdom and inner guidance. So here we have that withdrawing in like not a great way. So let's see here for solitude what the price of love has to say. Do you know yourself? The meanings: take time for self reflection, enlightenment, meditate, isolation, treat yourself, discover your wants and needs. Being alone is beneficial at this time. Gain clarity and inspiration. The answers are within. Trust yourself. Get in tune with your feelings. Someone sits alone on a dock with minimal light provided by a beautiful night sky and small lantern. The symbols, stars, and lantern. We are made up of the same particles of the universe, and the stars and sky represent the uniqueness of each one of us and the enlightenment we can receive by going within. The lights in both the lantern and coming from the stars symbolize the light that was within us. The silhouette. With the light providing some clarity, there is a shadow created in the form of the person's silhouette. This is all about the willingness to see our light and our shadow side. Once we take time to know ourselves, we can accept and learn from all sides. Okay, so our light and our shadow sides, right? Light and shadow side. Okay, all right, here we go. We are going to get the healing V. This deck is Healing the Mind and Spirit cards by Brian Weiss. And I love Brian Weiss because he wrote Many Lives, Many Masters, which is a book about how he discovered his patients' past lives through the therapy that he was doing with them, and what that was like for him and them in terms of being able to move beyond the things that were kind of stuck in therapy, issues that could not be resolved and had unsuccessfully been resolved. When they went back into past lives, then they were able to move and find the real root of the issue. So I think that part of what we're talking about here is past lives and patterns and those karmic dances and balancing out of energies at play as well. So, all right, let's see what we have here for healing the polarity issues here. All right, so for the feminine, man, sorry, these cards are very thick. Okay, fine, I'll take them both. Oh, well, here we go. And then overall. Okay, so on the feminine side, it says, I am constantly evolving into a more spiritual person. Okay, High Priestess, I am constantly evolving into a more spiritual person, connected with that divine. There we go. Okay. And it says, if you're evolving into a more loving, more compassionate, less violent person, then you're moving in the right direction. Okay. When she left him, instead of beating his bleep, she had evolved into a kinder and gentler person. And that was like her mother's heartfelt prayer was like, you need to not, you need to get away because you pushed my daughter to this point where I can't guarantee what she's going to do, but she's moving in the right direction. Anytime we do that, more loving, more compassion, less violent person, you're moving in the right direction. Okay. Now for the masculine side, it says, every day I am a new person. Now, in the context of this guy, that is ironic. Every day I am a new person. He was a pathological liar. pathological liar, change on the whim of a dime, say anything at any given time. All right. So, anyway, on the positive side, it says each day your thoughts, intentions, and awareness stir you to change and evolve. See yourself and your loved ones as you are now, not as you were before. All right, so the caterpillar turns into the butterfly, changes form, is unrecognizable. So she said the life and the person she was before is gone. So she is making herself into a new person. Now, the other one that came out that was stuck together, which is interesting because it was stuck, it says, I am overcoming my ego and pride. Okay, an ego and pride are obstacles to inner peace and joy. Become aware of the beauty of your spiritual self. Okay, okay, beautiful guidance. Now, the third here it says, I am aware that a life filled with difficulty is not a punishment. Woo! I mean, after what you heard and what was happening and what was endured by all of the people whose stories have been told so far, it is hard to say, like, right, that yeah, like why me, right? Me, but I never heard her say that. She never said why me. She like was clear, like why her, when in looking at it, what happened. But it says sometimes the most evolved souls take the most challenging paths. Okay. So we need to have grace for both of them because for them to be the victim and the villain to play out for this template of lying abuser who takes advantage of a woman's vulnerability, that is a narrative that is playing out from past lives, is playing out in our DNA, is playing out in our collective consciousness. So by them volunteering to be souls who came down and experienced this very painful and difficult thing, we are going to clear a huge amount of energy. All right. So thank you to both of those souls that are enduring this on our behalf, not just to entertain us, but to help us shift our consciousness. Okay, so we are going to find out what the sacred geometry of relationship is, and then we'll get a message of closure to get this, like, what do you do after the divorce is final and all the dust is settled? And then one last guidance from there. So if someone who's left in the chat would pick a number between 1 and 3, this is going to be the relationship sacred tree pattern to apply to this situation. The who TF did I marry? Number 2. All right, one more shuffle. 2, 2, 2. 2 is the high priestess number. So all right, pile number 2. And we got the top and the bottom 2 cards. All right, so let us see. Wow. Kindness. 29. Okay. Thank you. The person who said number 2 got 29, 1129 today. So here we are. Beautiful reflection of that. I love this heart energy as well. That green. So the energy of kindness reminds us to be considerate and wise in our interactions with others and ourselves, and to find the root of our love through our connections to source. Okay, this is kindness. This is a beautiful, beautiful, soft energy. That's the kind of thing that, the internet is not good about necessarily being kind. Sometimes, and I think that what the people who've been talking about this in public have said that they've been so moved by the outpouring of kindness and people who've really been supportive of them. But there's also the counterbalance of all the people who take this as time as an opportunity to be judging and blaming and shaming, trying to shame people and having opinions about everything. So to fall on the side of kindness, I think, is a beautiful message. So it says here, kindness is the quality of being friendly and considerate and also sweet, gentle, and generous. Kindness is a fundamental trait to human beings. Genuine kindness originates and flows from a heart that is open and able to give and receive love. There is almost nothing more valuable than an act of kindness, even a small one, for both the receiver and the giver. Kindness increases our sense of happiness, and that contributes to our overall health and well being. Being kind is not hard to do, but doing so requires us being conscious of our own thoughts and behaviors and being aware of how we treat and approach others. Ultimately, it has to do with how we feel in our own hearts. When we feel connected to a bigger whole and a higher power, our heart is open. Universal and divine love can then flow through us and out into the world to touch the hearts of others. Beautiful. In this image, the greens and blues refer to the heart chakra as the center of our capacity to love, the green, and the throat chakra, blue, as the center of our expression and communication. The core of the image is what could be considered the high heart chakra. The high heart chakra is not recognized as one of the major chakras, yet many consider it to be an important part of the energetic system. This eighth energy center is also known as the thymus chakra because of its location at the thymus gland between the throat and the heart. It's the place where the energies of the heart and the throat come together. Sometimes it is referred to as the source of intent, as it brings together the emotions of the heart through what we intend to say, and the expression of the throat through the words we use. It plays a vital role in bridging higher consciousness and the physical world. The water in the background refers to the fluidity of the emotional world. The flower of life refers to the grid on which our form-based world is built. The purples in the center refer to our connection to the universe and God, our ultimate source for love. 6 stands for relationship, connection, and harmony, all of which thrive through kindness. Kindness and relationship. Kindness in any kind of relationship is often undervalued. We sometimes get so absorbed in our lives and our own ups and downs that it is easy to reflect our inward turmoil in our outward behavior. It is then easy to neglect being kind and to take our inner disharmony out on the world. Being kind is hard, but it needs our consciousness. We choose to be kind. For instance, we can choose to not judge one another, even in the face of knowing that a better choice could be made in a situation. We can be supportive and offer gentle suggestions. Well, hello. Okay, internet people, internet trolls. Um, Let's see. We can choose to hold our tongue when it would be easy to say something that could hurt somebody's heart, even if it is truthful. Truth does not always need to be expressed, and when it does, we can choose to find ways to express it with kindness, gentleness, and respect. Kindness touches the hearts of everyone involved, and anyone can practice kindness. The food for thought. How are you kind? Are you aware of how you treat others? What about strangers who you know for only a moment? Is it as easy to be kind to a stranger as it is to your neighbor, your boss? Contemplate the little acts of kindness that you can perform today that could make a huge difference in someone else's life as well as your own. I mean, I will say that she, the protagonist, the ex-wife, she did not get fussing and like cussing and say like really mean things. She was measured and purposeful, and she talked about things with as much adultness as was possible. This was not some folks cat fighting, throwing over tables in a public house, Real Housewives kind of way, dragging each other across tables and reunion shows or anything like that. It was straightforward, and I think that it was probably as kind as it could be. And even the ex-wife that I've seen is very forceful, very firm on those boundaries, but not like causing some crazy, riotous kind of clapback kind of situation. So I would say that kindness is definitely in the frequency in terms of what, especially after what they've been through. So, all right, the other energy. Oh, wow. Now, this is because we have here this energy of sensuality. So I'm very curious to see because, here we don't have sensuality, we have objectification, we have money, transaction, nakedness, objects, art, bodies. Sensuality is not that. That is softness. That is integration. It says the frequency of sensuality reminds us that as spirits in human bodies, we are sensual beings experiencing joy and pleasure from the physical world through our senses. Okay, so like one of the things, like cutting oneself off from that experience because you've been traumatized because you allowed someone to be intimate, like that could be something that I imagine is, if you can't be kind and tender, I don't know how you could be sensual as well. So let's see here. I am sensual. Sensuality is the expression of pleasure involving our senses. There is an undeniable flavor of sexuality associated with sensuality, but at its origin, it refers to any experience of pleasure involving the senses. Sensuality can certainly lead to sexuality or be a part of it, but sensuality by itself is not the same as sex. In relationships, sensuality often incorporates an aspect of romance, while sexuality tends to focus on the sex. Okay, as we look back at that whole drama, one of the things she was not saying that it was about the sex, it was about the things that he did that were like chivalrous and gentlemanly at first, that were very nurturing, and that she felt good and started to trust in that to become soft because he was presenting in a way that was like, I just need you to be soft, right? So that kind of being able to express and be vulnerable in that is what opened her energy to him. I think fixing a tire on the side of the road and coming to see about her like very quickly, that what they call that love bombing, but he kind of like bombed his way into her trust because he was taking care of things and allowing the softness without aggressively, from what she talked about being sexual at first, right? So it says, as spiritual beings in physical bodies, we get most of our feedback on reality through our powerful sensory organs, which provide this feedback. Our first attraction to another person is often based on what we see, hear, feel, taste, and smell. Sensuality, therefore, is an essential aspect of being human, and it deserves our attention and appreciation at the least. Sensuality is the sensation that emerges when our senses engage with our heart in a flowing dance that reaches the soul. If sensuality would have a sound, it might be delivered with eyes half closed, a soft smile, and a gentle moving of the body. The image description: pink is associated with the universal love of oneself and others, with sweetness, tenderness, and care, and with the divine feminine. Okay, hello, divine feminine high priestess. Brighter pink incorporates aspects of aliveness, excitement, high energy, and power. Orange is associated with the second chakra and our sexuality, creativity, and emotions, and with the way we relate to one another. Gold symbolizes abundance, wealth, and power. It is connected to the sun and the divine masculine. The water in the background represents the realm of feelings and emotions. Sensuality and relationship. Touch activates oxytocin, the hormone of bonding, also known as the love hormone. We first experience this as a baby through the touch of our mother. Later in life, we experience this through the touch of a lover. Insufficient production of this hormone due to insufficient touch may affect our social behavior, emotions, appetite, sleep, mood, and libido. Although we know for a fact that touch promotes our health and well being, our happiness, and our joy, there is still a lot of controversy around the topic of touch, sexuality, and sensuality. Unfortunately, sensuality is often put in the same box as sexuality, imposing all kinds of rules on what kinds of touch are acceptable and which are not. Sadly, we have almost completely lost the understanding of what true sensuality is and how it is essential to our well being. We need to fill our senses to feel fulfilled and whole. And for many, but not all, this involves touch. Food for thought. When was the last time you indulged in your sensuality and filled your senses with pleasurable experiences, or offered that to your partner? Do you get some form of body work done on a regular basis? How do you feel getting a massage from a stranger? Do you prefer a male or female massage therapist? Why? Go through your closet to find the articles of clothing that allow you to feel and be more sensual. Are there visual cues in your house or world that spark your senses? What kinds of art or movies awaken your senses? Ask your partner these same questions so that your intimacy and connection deepen. Okay, so like fostering that experience of touch, of sensual, of being with your body means that you won't be thirsty for that energy from others in a way that imbalances you or causes you to compromise your energy and to align with somebody who is not necessarily honoring that sensual softness in the true way, right? So like her desire to be coupled and to have those things that he was doing, those tender moments, overrode the other part of the percentage that was like, this is not right. This is not right. So like being in balance with that so that you, and especially to be connected with that feeling state of the divine feminine, the softness part is beautiful as well. So we got pink and green. And I know that I think that's a beautiful color combination. It's very resonant. All right, for spring energies as well. So let's get the message of closure. So as we move to put this situation kind of in the rear view mirror, because there'll be something else viral coming out, I'm sure. But like we've got this massive 2 million people looking at this template with the energy that we've been talking about here. Let's see how and what like to move beyond and to a place of closure. What messages want to come forward about that? And this is from the All Things Intuitive Messages of Closure deck. So let's see what in sending and saying goodbye to that particular train wreck of a very short-lived and traumatic marriage. All right. Oh, it makes me happy to see you heal. I am learning so much from you. All right, so we have feminine side, masculine side. Divine feminine, the spirit says, happy to see you heal. We are learning so much from each other. Oh, and spirit says, I am with you all the time. All right, so we are never in this journey alone. We are all in this together. We are bringing in these energies to clear and to change them and to make a higher frequency, to heal the trust, to heal the lies. You know, a person is reflecting us. All times out, our world is reflecting us. So there, you know, the lies that she caught him in, there were times that she lied to herself that it was okay. So there was a actual then dance of balance that only got unbalanced when she finally decided to that it was just no more, right? But the lie that it was okay, the lie that what he said wasn't a lie, so she was lying to herself, just not outwardly. He was lying outwardly, but inside he was probably pretty honest with himself about who he was when it boiled down to it. Like you don't keep that big of a ruse going without really knowing something, you know, is going on. So, all right, let's see here what the final guidance is about moving to this higher vibration, finding our happy instead of being lost in solitude and depression and distrust. How can we move into a better expression of relationship where sensuality and kindness are manifested in the romantic world? All right, here we go. Feminine, masculine, and source. All right, feminine side. Gratitude is the life force of everything. Wow, that's hard, right? To be grateful. That is very hard to be grateful when you have had, what does it say, a life full of difficulty. I just love how I love how these come together. Okay, so gratitude is the life force of everything. Let's see here. I love cards. I do. We can often look outside of ourselves and see someone else who looks happier, more satisfied, more successful, or healthier. And when we focus on them, we can forget to be thankful for what's going well in our own lives. Turning our attention to gratitude instead of jealousy or frustration can help you see all the blessings of your life. You may be focusing too much on what you don't have and what is not working. By turning your focus to gratitude, you will open up new opportunities. Thankfulness is the life force for all you truly desire. Your path will become less strained when you turn your energy to love and gratitude. I am thankful for all I am and all I have. My life is a perfect reflection of all I desire, and things I want flow to me naturally. My life is in perfect balance as I turn my attention to what I appreciate most. In what area of my life can I be more thankful? Okay. In a moment of gratitude. All right. In the masculine, issues are just old patterns I need to address. Okay. Hello. Issues are just old patterns I need to address. And we had the I am overcoming ego and pride. And every day I am a new person. That was what was on that side. Issues are just old patterns I need to address. All right, number 50. Oftentimes, what we see as issues or problems in our lives are recurring patterns. When an issue arises in your life, it is an opportunity to take stock of your current habits, see what is working, and release what no longer resonates. Show love to your old habits and address what is causing you more harm. If there is a habit that no longer supports you, it is time to release it. And that's interesting because this is on page 105 and it's card 50, but the other feminine side was on card 15. So, okay, ones and fives, changes and new energy. All right. Show love to your habits and address what is causing you more harm. If there's a habit that no longer supports you, it's time to release it. Recognize you are the creator of your own life experience, so you can change your experience at any time. All of your habits have served you for one reason: to help you learn more about yourself, and they will serve a purpose. Release the old patterns with love and be open to finding more supportive ways to fulfill those needs. I take time to look at my habits and release what is no longer serving me. I know all of my habits have served a purpose at one time, but with honesty and loving light, I can release the burden. I know the universe will help me release fear associated with leaving patterns behind. I welcome the opportunity for expansive growth. What habit am I ready to release from my life that is no longer serving me? All right. All right. And last but not least, message from Spirit. What do we have here? How I feel is more important than how I look. And that's card number 20. All right, for that too, for that high feminine energy, high priestess coming in. How I feel is more important than I look. All right, low self-esteem issues. Hello, I think we all can relate with that in this drama story here. Neither person trusted that the other person would like them for who they were. He lied so that he could get affection and energy and emotion. And she didn't trust that if she let it go, that something better was going to come along. So, all right. When you try to fit yourself into a situation where you do not fit, this can be very damaging to your self-worth. Well, hello. When you try to fit yourself in a situation where you do not fit, this can be very damaging to your self-worth. You think? If you drew this card, it's a sign that you are working too hard to fit into a situation where you do not need to be. If you are feeling self-doubt, self-loathing, or self-blame, you might be trying to fit into the outside world's expectations. Or you might be worrying too much about what others think of you. Trying to fit into these outer expectations based on appearance can cause you unneeded emotional and even physical pain. When you return to your true self, you will be reminded that the only thing that really matters is how you feel. Focus more on how your life feels versus how it looks to others. I feel good. I am connected to my best self, and I choose healthy actions. I focus on how my life feels instead of how it looks. Happiness comes through my feelings and attention to the details of my life. Where have I been more focused on how I look rather than how I feel? Wow. Interesting, because everybody right now is scrambling because they don't want to look bad. Like they're trying to rebut and have these conversations. They're trying to like clean up their opinion of people. But I think that the main character lady, she's got the right attitude. She is not trying to change anything, fit anything anymore. She told what happened to her is the truth. She's standing by and being accountable for that. And I'm hoping that, she can find a way to move to a place of gratitude for all that has happened and find the silver lining and continue to exude the kindness. Like, let's all continue to like really hold space on this. And that's one reason why I wanted to have this conversation this evening, was to really look at it from the spiritual side, not to be dramatic and, nosy and whatnot, but just to really see what lessons we could take out of it in a higher level. So this has been In the Cards with the Viberarian. Let me do my last little change over here. My little technology. And I'll thank you to everybody, who's been here this evening. And whenever you find this, I'll trust that you must have heard or seen or watched some of the original Who TF Did I Marry? If you do, watch it with kindness and with a mind to the things that we've shared here today. So wishing you lots of namaste. Peace.